Today we're standing outside in the rain, outside a station that used to be called Gillsepie Road and was a Leslie Green designed station.
And one of the shallowest on the Deep Tube network, merely 10 metres below the ground, it is Arsenal.
Hi everybody, welcome to Series 3, Episode 24, or Episode 53 of the Hidden London Hangouts. Now cast your mind back, Alex, to when you were a kid. I was given the choice of having a red football kit or a blue football kit. I've always thought I looked better in blue, so I got a Chelsea kit. My brother got an Arsenal kit. So Ant, this episode today is for you because we're at Arsenal Station. This is a bit of a quirky one. Love, love, love this station, and you will do too. I don't do this alone. I've got three amazing people from the London Transport Museum to talk us through this and to go out and do the dirty work in the rain when I didn't have to today. Chris Nix, have you dried out yet?
Yeah, just about dried out. My hair's all dry now. And today gives me the fantastic opportunity of two mug choices. One, cup final. Get it the right way around because that just showed it was actually a rugby one. Or the one which you might see if you look very carefully in the background of some of the photos we'll use today. That one.
That's very nice. I'm afraid I'm Johnston's numbers today. Siddy, have you got a mug? Have you dried out as well? Because you went out in the rain for us.
Yeah, my hair's a little fluffy, but I did put my my pigtails, my braids in today to keep it all in check. But you know what? I've got a new addition to my Moomin collection, actually. My cousin gave me this mug as a little thank you gift recently. So I'm not on brand, but it is very special to me.
You're on Moomin. That's good. This time last week, we were all in shorts. I'm afraid it's not shorts weather today, is it?
No, look at me. I'm wearing a woolly jumper again.
Look, cold, proper cold. Laura Hilton Brown, what are you wearing? Shorts?
No woolly jumper. I have got a t-shirt on because I'm still channeling my inner summertime. But I don't really do site visits in the rain, so I decided not to go today. No, I'm not that much of a princess. That is not the real reason. It's not the real reason. But I am at home with a massive mug of tea in my Le. Can you see that? Le mug.
Oh,
but yeah, once again, never been to this station. Don't know anything about it. So my contribution is going to be fantastic.
It's going to be posters, babes. We've got loads of lovely posters at the end of this. Now, Arsenal Station, Piccadilly line, the Piccadilly line. Of course, it's football, isn't it, really? But there is a bit of a history to this, and it's a quirky station, as you're about to see. Chris, give us a little history lesson. We're going back to 1906 to start this, aren't we?
Yes, indeed. With the Great Northern Piccadilly and Brompton Railway, now known as the Piccadilly line, opened on the 15th of December, and this was one of the stations on it, then known as Gillsepie Road, and it survived in that name until October of 1932, when it changed to Arsenal Highbury Hill. In brackets. It's quite shallow. It's only 10 metres or 30 feet below ground, so not much of a deep tube. And the surface building was really rather pretty, but it survived only until 1933 when the station needed to be expanded, basically a bigger entrance to it to handle more people in and out, particularly on match days.
It's an incredible station, though, as we're about to see, because it was a bit wider than an average house in a Victorian street. And then, as Chris says, it got widened to be effectively a bit wider than two houses in a Victorian street. And when you look at what it started off as we're about to see, Chris, it was the most beautiful Leslie Green frontage, wasn't it, Siddy?
It's like a little dainty, it's the daintiest little frontage. It's very cute. And again, it's got that turret that we talked about last week, you know, the one that was on top of Hampstead. Here it's just right in front of the name. But it's such a lovely little station, as you say, just kind of tucked away in a residential street. You wouldn't even sort of almost know it was there. It's really lovely.
You'd sort of want to live there now, though, Laura, in one of those adjacent houses. If that was still there, I would give my eye teeth to live in either the house to the left or to the right of the single archwayed station frontage. It's so cute, isn't it?
I swear you and I are just on the same wavelength, because in my head then, as Siddy was talking about how small the front is, I thought, but so full of character, right? Even that small space there oozes character with the tiles and the porthole windows and the lovely brickwork at the top. And then I thought to myself, how cool would it be to live, maybe not with the noise of the train on match days and stuff as well, but how cool would it be to live in either of those houses and just watch those people going in and out and just wonder what their story is, you know, what's their journey? And then you ask them that question. So
isn't it funny? And of course, as Chris says on the front of it, that underground sign that is literally, Chris, screwed to that beautiful, beautiful tile work. It's sacrilege.
Yes, I wish I could claim that. I think that might have been City who spotted that one. But it is extraordinary seeing it put there like that. They're normally on the roof, but presumably that wouldn't have been popular, sticking up above the chimney pots and so on. I would, if I was going to choose a house to the left or the right, I have to say, having been there with City today, I would choose one to the right. And the reason for that is the pedestrian walkway inside the station goes right underneath those houses. And I imagine when it's full of football fans singing, you're gonna notice.
Yeah,
wash your hands, wash your face, and we know the slogan, don't we? Absolutely. Sorry, Sid, that was a bit of a London football gag for you there.
Oh, well, I mean, I know my football.
I don't. That's why when my mum and dad said, "What sort of football outfit do you want?" I said, "Blue, because I look good in blue." I mean, what was that all about?
You do look good in blue, though, so you chose wisely. Also, Chris, I would go to the right as well, because Arsenal football, the actual stadium is to the left of that photo. So you would want, everyone going that way and not where you lived.
It's beautiful. And of course,
it'd be interesting to see if there's much difference in the estate agent's window between the prices to the right of the photo and to the left, wouldn't it?
Yeah, interesting stuff.
What is remarkable is just how compact this station was inside. Should we have a look at the ticket hall?
Please, yeah.
So you can see it says in the bottom of that photo, booking office, and there's an arrow pointing down to the right-hand side there. And then we're just going to jump into that space now. And there it is, with the world's tiniest door there. And it's not very big for all of those people trying to use it, is it?
And when you look at that picture, guys, at the very far end of that corridor to the left, that is the passageway down to the platforms, is it?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
okay.
That's right. Once you go past those 3 ticket windows, you turn to the left and then go down the ramps towards the platforms.
And with this station, you said it's so shallow, so close to the surface of the ground, about 10 meters, you said, didn't you? That's so short. There presumably was no need for lifts or really stairs even. There was just a ramp, wasn't there, from day one?
So it's quite interesting. The geography of the Piccadilly line as a whole, basically, because it used to run from Finsbury Park to Hammersmith, from Finsbury Park, it's basically going down a hill all the way towards Holborn, or where it levels off, and it keeps pretty level until you reach about sort of Earl's Court, where it starts rising again up towards the surface. So, if you think about the geography of it, you're actually on the top of a hill. Because you're going down, you don't actually need that much space, to reach the surface. But then as it gets deeper and deeper.
And also, because it followed, so I read when I was looking into this station as well, the actual platforms are underneath the Great Northeastern Railway, which is why that long tunnel is so shallow, because it doesn't have to go very deep, and it's a long way away. So it's almost flat, I guess, is it?
Yeah. That's right.
Cool.
We'll see a little bit of that passageway later on in our visit to the site. But here we can see it's a standard form of tiled walls, tiled windows, and those lovely little lamps that we're now getting familiar with a couple of poster frames and an enamel map. So absolutely
seems like a bit of a budget version of a Leslie Green station, no? Because where are the acanthus leaves? Where are the green detailings?
Presumably on the right-hand side, you can see on the right-hand side, there's kind of border tiles down there. I think it's just because it's in a ticket office, maybe. But you are right; you would expect to see some border tiles on that left side.
Because Holloway Road, which is the next one down, has it, and it's always at like shoulder level, so it's quite higher up.
Perhaps they're on order from Wicks. Who knows? Who knows?
Wash your mouth out, Mr. Grundle.
Now, interestingly, that football, the football team, the football club, was down in Woolwich originally, which is why it's called Woolwich Arsenal Football Club, and then it moved up to where it is now. Well, not far from there, to Highbury. And in doing so, match days made this station very, very busy, didn't they? And we've got a picture, haven't we, Chris?
You're not kidding. There you go. And to your point about which side you want to live on, City, you're absolutely right.
That's 1922, is that right?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, look at all those flat caps and boaters.
You all seem to be looking at the photographer, no?
Presumably, they were asked to. It would be quite chance if they all just went and eyeballed.
You can imagine the Paps, though, can't you? They're really, oi, look up here, oi! That's what they do. And that's how they get it all happening. It's great.
We've
got some Peaky Blinders vibes to this, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They're proper suited and booted, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do you know, we've got a really lovely short oral history in our collection from a gentleman called George Speakman, who remembers going to see Arsenal, being taken there by his dad in the 20s. So early 20s, he describes going to this station, using this station to go and see the team. And on coming back to get into the station, he said the queue was usually about a mile long and 2 or 3 people wide, all the way back to the station until they got enough trains through to be able to clear it. But
it's blissful. It's blissful. And so that beautiful facade really just didn't cut the mustard. It wasn't big enough. So they pulled down a house and they extended the station to make it bigger inside. But look at what they did to the front of it. I mean, what a disappointment by comparison. What a disappointment. And that's from the 30s, isn't it?
It is. That's from 33. This is actually taken in 34, so just a year after it's opened. It looks quite clean and clinical, to say the least, doesn't it? It's quite a contrast on that street.
And it's not much difference to now, is it, really? It's quite similar now, really, isn't it?
It's not aged well.
No, no. It's just,
I would also say, like, completely out of place in that lovely little Victorian terraced house, a residential street. Totally, it does not fit in there.
You'd be
at all.
absolutely gutted, wouldn't you, if you were in that street and you went from the beautiful oxblood red Leslie Green style fancy tiles to what effectively was a plasterer's Friday afternoon job.
It's
That's really all it is.
Just a slab rendered front. The only bit of relief to it, I guess, is the roundel is made of a mosaic. So that underground roundel is done as a mosaic, but it's lipstick on the gorilla time. That
it really is. It really. I love that phrase. I love that phrase. But thankfully, the London Transport Museum did sort of keep a relic of the old station, didn't they? Because there's a beautiful. Well, this always makes me laugh about how London Underground used to update signs. Invariably used to use paper. This was it. Look at it. There we go. So we've got the lovely metal sort of enamelled sign that says Gillespie Road, Highbury Hill, and over the top of it, in paper.
It just says, to me, it just says arse. I mean, now that it's scratched away, they've
exactly
what every 10-year-old would want to do.
Which is exactly what we thought of the new station, frankly. But very, very lovely stuff. Very, very lovely stuff. Any thoughts on that, Sids? I mean, it's always quite nice, isn't it, to find the relics?
I mean, you've said it. I think it's just funny that they make them out of metal and then they just put a bit of paper over it. It's like, guys, it's not going to work.
Well, we had this, didn't we, at the museum depot, London Transport Museum depot, because when Charing Cross when Charing Cross became Embankment, I was trying to think, God, which way around was that? Chabankment was the name of the station, if you look very carefully on the signs, where the paper had gone over the enamel and the name had changed. Lovely stuff. Now, Laura and I couldn't make today an hour little wander around this station because, frankly, we didn't want to get wet. So Siddy and Chris, the intrepid pair, went to the station on our behalf to have a little look around, and they began their little odyssey in the booking hall.
So being such a short way below ground, it means that there's a slightly unusual way of getting down to the platform at Arsenal Station.
Well, there are no lifts here. Instead, there's just a really long, elongated ramp that takes you all the way to the platforms 10 metres below ground.
Now, today is quite a quiet day, but if you were to come here on match day, there would just be a sea of people trying to get out to go to see the football. And because of that, there's this special structure built here to allow people to go in.
Which is called the Chicken Run and allows people coming into the station to actually make it down to the platforms in the sea of football supporters.
And of course, around us, we've got some of the lovely tiling scheme here. Not original, it's been replaced. Cheers. And also Labyrinth number 224.
Amazing.
Just above me, we've got, don't know if it's original, but rather nice old clock as well.
Right.
I think we should go and try the Chicken Run.
I think so too. Let's do it.
right. I'm so glad they've still got the clock. But I wanted more Leslie Green. I wanted more, not panels.
Yeah, it doesn't quite. I mean, they've done a really good job in at least, retiling it in that same color scheme and pattern and, keeping that essence alive. But yeah, it definitely does feel like a strange mix of the old and the new. It doesn't quite have the same pizzazz as some of the other stations around it.
It doesn't.
You've gone to the wrong station if you're looking for Leslie Green finesse there, but it is a lot more match fit, I guess, than for its purpose.
Good work, match fit. I tell you, Laura, how do you feel? Have you ever felt like a caged beast?
Of all the questions, right, I thought you might throw me then. That was not one that...
She is wearing leoard today, so there you go.
Well, she's been to a safari park.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason I ask, Laura, is because the long corridor down to the platforms has been now modified because of this. Look at the scenes at match day, Chris.
Well, there you go. Look at that.
I mean, there's Range Rovers, there's people. There is no way in the world. If you are at the end of a match, 90 minutes of Spurs versus Arsenal, and you're pouring into that station and there is one person trying to get out, you've had it, haven't you, really? So they decided to make a bit of a mod, didn't they? A little modification, Mr. Nix.
They did. I'm just taking a moment to enjoy a 1980s photo showing two, what we used to refer to as hoolie wagons.
Yes.
The police vehicles that were sent out when there was trouble.
Yeah,
those
it's
two
amazing.
blue vans.
I love it. But of course, the station did have to be modified because there was no way in the world that one person could get out if 900 were going in. And they created what was affectionately known as the chicken run.
Yeah.
Yes, we discovered this today. It's not a looker, is it, Siddy? It's quite a functional thing.
Well, it's funny. When I was walking up from having just got off the platform and trying to sort of work out what this metal thing was, I was sort of like, what is that supposed to do? And then when you said, when you explained it, I was like, oh, yeah, that's clever. Because imagine, yeah, as you said, thousands of people are trying to get out of the station, and you live in that lovely little terrace and you just want to get on the tube. There's no way you could possibly actually walk towards, get down when, all these people are coming at you. So they've sectioned off a tiny little part of the walkway. And they've kind of, well, as you will see, they've sectioned it off. So you're able to get in and out of the station when it's extremely busy.
I don't think there's another one of these because I can't see anywhere else that would need it. It's because it's got this long passageway. But and having never been through the station before, like Siddy, I got off and just like, what is that? And it took me about 10 steps up the stairs to go, I can probably take a guess. So I said to the supervisor when I got there, is that? Yeah, we opened that on match.
Well, he said it's actually one of the easiest places to, he said it's a really great football station because, we can control the flow of people a lot better here.
Big shout out to Abab for being so helpful today and letting us film around the station.
Oh, good work. Well, it reminds me of a carry-on line. You're blocking their passage, madam, from Kenneth Williams, because Siddy and Chris went down through this chicken run, so you don't have to.
Very narrow.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Customer information. Within our bid to keep you safe and use of hospital grade and legal systems on all stations and trains. Please do your bid for washing our hands frequently and using our hand sanitizer before and after travel. Thank you.
Oh no, Siddy, how do we get out? We're locked in. It's only a matter of time, I suppose.
Oh my gosh.
Laura, what did you make of that then? Would you like to go down that way?
No, it's very narrow, like Siddy said, very narrow indeed, isn't it? And I think if I'd have got to that station and not seen this little episode, I wouldn't have known necessarily that that's what it was for either. I do have a question for you all though. Even though the station has been enlarged, and obviously it deals with this huge capacity of flow of people. Is it not still a really tiny station for such a massive football team?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Does it struggle with that amount of people, or is it kind of managing?
I think so. Well, I remember when we were at Holloway Road a few months ago, I was chatting to the area manager, and they do try to encourage people to actually get off at Holloway Road and walk from there instead of everyone going to Arsenal. So I do think that they struggle sometimes, particularly the Emirates Stadium is very big now.
Well, it's huge, isn't it? In the Premiership
You
team,
do get a lot of people on match days getting off at Highbury and Islington and then populating the pubs on Holloway Road. So they do tend to disperse it out, and fans themselves have got their favourite pubs. Arsenal fans love to go to either that one on Holloway Road or that one around the corner near to Finsbury Park or whatever. So there is a genuine, and of course the buses bring people in as well, and of course the Finsbury Park rail. So there's loads of ways to get to Arsenal Station, but absolutely you're right. It's quite a narrow fronted station. And when you look at the platforms as well, Mr. Nix, we've got these. Well, the tiles are beautiful. So, Laura, hold your horses, because green and pink, should they ever be seen? That's the question. But it was beautiful, and they've kind of pastiched it, haven't they? They've kept that interesting colour scheme going.
They have. There it is. This is a transparency from 1992, which is a little faded, so you probably can't make out very easily that the lower half of the tiles are actually a pink colour, but the green tiles, you can see them in their original form there, that usual kind of variation in colour that you see on those vintage stations.
See, I love the green. Would you agree, Laura? Laura?
Hang on.
Green.
Where's the pink? Where's the pink?
Yeah, it's
below.
So underneath where it says Gillespie Road, you've got two bands of green tiles.
Yep.
And then that big block down to the green skirting, that's actually pink. You'll see it a little better on the modernised tiles.
I think they're lovely. But of course,
they are nice.
That was from 1992. But of course, Christopher and our very own Sids went in 2021 at about 11:21 to have a little look.
There we are.
Well, that's rather lovely, isn't it?
It really is, but you can tell that these are not the original Leslie Green tiles.
You can. These white ones, these pink ones, they're just too flat, really, and there's no crazing like we would normally see on a vitreous surface of an original tile.
Those ones are not too bad, though. I have to say, I love the fact that they've kept this tradition of keeping the original name, as you see in other stations, even though they've retiled the entire place.
I agree. I think they've really nailed it on these ones, the colour variation on them. I think in years to come, those will blend in very nicely. But it's lovely that they've kept it, and it's always nice to have a cartouche.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I do like it. I really like it. I had to clap a minute ago, nearly shot the cat. It was terrible. Wonderful stuff. Laura, what do we think? Green and pink as a colour scheme? Very football, very masculine.
Like it. Yeah, no, I quite like it. It's quite pretty. Although in the picture there, it looks slightly more mauve or violet, if I could go with those two colours. But I obviously...
Violet lived in the house next door, actually.
There you go.
I think Violet lived at Caledonian Road. That's Violet and Mauve is definitely Caledonian Road.
Violet and Mauve, the two next door neighbours. I love that.
Am I mildly colourblind in that one, or is the colour just coming out slightly different on the photograph?
No, the fluorescent lights can throw it off a bit.
Yeah.
I'd say it was pink, wouldn't you, Siddy, from having been there?
Oh yeah, but also I wonder if I think that photo is probably either been just washed a little bit or something, because as you saw in that video, that color is strong, like it's quite bright. And I mean, I really like those stations sort of up there on the Piccadilly line, like Arsenal, like Holloway Road and Caledonian Road, that kind of purple that's there. They're quite kind of intense colours, I would say, a lot more so than some of the others in central London.
Well, I drove past Southgate Station, further up the Piccadilly line today, and I have to say that I'm so much more of a fan of Leslie Green stations than Charles Holden ones. I really am. They're just so pretty and beautiful. And although the colour schemes on some of those Piccadilly line stations are a bit weird, I mean, green and pink, it's not one. I mean, I'd never wear it. I don't know about you, but they are still beautiful. And I think Arsenal's, the fact that they bothered to keep those colours, I always think is beautiful. One thing we can't dispute is the beauty of the posters that were created as a result of Arsenal and its popularity with football. And Mr. Nix has created a little gallery of gems from the system that's known as the
Information Management System of the museum.
Oh, lovely work. Lovely. IMS. Go on, push that button, Bubbler.
I have to say, Alex, that you were bigging up the posters there, and I'm not sure the first one that I'm going to show you quite.
it needs no introduction. Look at it.
I deliberately chose the most functional poster I could find for this one. Arsenal Station for Arsenal Stadium.
There you go, Laura. What do you make of that little beauty?
Well, minimal, functional, practical. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? Does what it says in the tin.
Yeah, rubbish is how I describe it.
I don't think it's rubbish.
Arsenal,
Highbury, with a completely different vibe and a bit of art to it.
Go for it.
So this one is from 19.
Ooh, it's moody.
Battle of Waterloo.
Les Miserables, anybody?
Yeah.
What's that? So what is
It's like
that
the
trying
French
to be?
Revolution.
It's by Gerald Spencer Price, and he's got a little proverb down at the bottom saying, "He knows nothing who does not mix with the crowd." So basically saying, go and watch football and mix with people.
God, it looks like they're watching an execution rather than football.
To be honest, if Arsenal are losing, that's probably much how most people feel, actually. It's bizarre. Did anyone actually go to the original Highbury Stadium before it became the Emirates?
No.
You won't be surprised to know I didn't. But my granddad used to go all the time, and my brother's been, and they loved it. So very strange, because the Emirates is now just so big, isn't it? It's epic. But Highbury Stadium was lovely. I think it was turned into a housing thing, wasn't it? The actual estate.
Quite possibly.
Oh,
I don't know.
Anyway, next poster.
Okay, so this next poster is by an unknown artist, but this is from 1922.
Oh, I like
this
that.
would have been advertising when George Speakman was going there with his dad to join in all of those enormous queues to get to the station.
Yeah, I like that. That's nice.
Oh, and
I
it
like
says to go to Chelsea, you go to Walham Green. It's called.
Now, what was that? Fulham Broadway.
Yeah, it's Fulham Broadway. That's where where
look at the
Stamford Bridge is. It's my side of town.
Oh man, love it.
I also like the fact, the roundel or bullseye as it was then gets used for many things on posters, but here it's been turned into a rather irregular football.
Oh yeah.
Going in the top of the net.
Back of the net, Chris. How many times in our lads' nights outs have we said that? None.
Interestingly,
None.
interestingly, all of these posters are telling people to book to Gillespie Road for Arsenal, but actually quite a lot of the posters in our collection, which are telling you how to get to see a match by Arsenal, are actually trying to get you to go to a different station altogether. Certainly in the run up in the 20s, it was quite common to be sending you off to Highbury rather than use the crowded Gillespie Road.
I love it. And we got one more, haven't we?
We do.
Oh, look at that. Stood up again. That'd be me. I don't think I'd be a very good goalie.
He's never going to save
away the ball
like that, is he?
No, he's not going to. It's.
I do like that. Little catalogue photo against the.
Wait, Alex. So, would you want to be the goalie if we had a team? What would you be?
What would I be?
Yeah.
I would be handing around the oranges at half time.
No, you'd have to play. Okay, you'd be the goalie.
No, I wouldn't. I'd be the striker.
Oh, would you?
I would be the striker because I was known at school for my mega toe punts.
Of course you were.
An excellent footballing situation. Can I just say, by the way, what would you be, by the way, Mr. Nix, if I was the mega toe punter? What would you be?
What you mean within the team?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Or anywhere else you'd like.
In my younger days, I probably would have been playing up front, but I think these days I'd be shuffling around in defence. Laura's dressed in the right colour to be goalie, so she could go green jersey goalie.
I'll be a midfielder.
I bet you will. I'll go round the
Hang
back.
on a minute, you just called goal. You didn't even ask. You just went, oh, Laura can go in goal. She pounded
Laura,
with balls.
Laura, which one do you want to be?
Well, you'd be first to be chosen. If we were doing jumpers for goalposts, you'd be the first to be chosen. Everyone would be looking at Alex and going, oh, no one wants him on a team, do they? Not really. Do you notice that, by the way, at the bottom of the poster? Woolwich Arsenal at Gillespie Road. That's really cool. That's what they used to be called, London Caledonians. Oh my goodness!
1913. This, so yeah, it's pretty early days. By an artist called Sidney Thomas something Weeks. He's got like four names. I've forgotten the third one, I'm afraid.
All for tax purposes. It's interesting though. I love the fact that I've noticed that. My dad will be so proud. He always wanted me to love football.
Can I just show one more poster?
Yes.
So I can't lie, I didn't send Chris this quick enough to get it on the official.
Oh, here we go. Rudimentary show of the screen.
Totally my fault. No, it's my fault.
Laura,
Throwing myself under the bus. Can everyone see that one?
I've actually got it. If you want me,
have you?
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
So what prompted me to want to show that one again in this episode? Chris mentioned before on the poster before this one, I think, about the roundel being used as the football. So if you look at this poster as well, I really like the take on the disc and the bar, because the disc has become the football and the bar is the kind of text of the actual poster. And I just think that's a really lovely creative descriptive way to use the poster in that way. And then that also made me think how lovely it is when posters are really descriptive about their surrounding areas. So if you think about Hampstead, hang on, was it Hampstead last week?
Yes.
Losing my mind. When we did Hampstead last week, the posters are all rural and green and water. And then today, obviously, we're doing Arsenal and it's sport and football and the matches. And it's so descriptive about the air, that immediate area that the station is in, that you could look at a selection of posters and that you just know immediately what they're about or what they're promoting. And I really like that.
I think it's lovely as well. And thank you very much indeed. Thank you, team, by the way, for going out and doing the wet work so we didn't have to. Today was grim. It was a really horrible morning. And the message went around on the WhatsApp group and it was like, we're going to be doing Arsenal today. And there was this, anybody coming with us? And I don't know. No, I'm busy. I'm very, very, very busy today, staying dry. And Laura was busy as well. So we'll get ourselves wet another time for the Hidden London Hangouts. But thank you very much indeed. So notes, queries and questions. We do this every week. Opportunity for you to get your questions answered, your comments read out, and to make our heads swell with lovely comments about the episodes. And we've got one from Andy Davis. He said, I hope you're doing okay. Firstly, thanks again to you and the Hidden London team. They really help me relax, unwind, and keep in touch with a topic I love. Thank you for getting in touch. I have a question. He says, my local station's Hatton Cross, and I've used it since I was a very young boy, so more years than I care to confess. The question is, a local story has it that the car park was initially planned to be on the roof of the building, but for some reason this didn't happen. Is this true or just another urban myth, says Andy? The thing is, I can't think of any tube station where there's a car park on the roof. Can you?
Well, Heathrow.
There's an aeroplane on the roof.
I mean, just being facetious, Heathrow does. No, not really. I guess maybe some of the, like Fulham Broadway and those, like Hammersmith Broadway has got like a car park around there, because they're in shopping centres.
But as far as, parking up on the roof and going downstairs in the lift, I can't think of any others, but
no,
thank you very much for your question. Martini7328 on Instagram says, Alex, you say you hope we all see the underground in a different way since watching the Hidden London Hangouts. Well, we do. I certainly do. I seem to be looking and noticing more and spending more time at the stations and wait for crowds to disappear to enjoy the beauty of the underground. I hope it is kind of changing the way we look at the tube, Laura.
I think that's the whole essence, isn't it, of where we're all coming from, and just trying to bring these little kind of nuggets of beauty and design and engineering just to the forefront so people can witness those and see that as they travel. It's not something that I ever used to kind of see when I traveled either. So I totally get where people are coming from when it's just a journey. I'm going from A to B, it's functional, it's navigation. But that's changed for me over the years, and it's become much more of an enjoyable journey. So I hope we are bringing that to people. That would be job done for me anyway.
That is our gift to you. Next is loads of comments about the Hampstead episode. We are still a little spooked and delighted. Oh, hello. What's that in the...
Oh my God, what was that?
You know, I actually wondered, the last time that happened to me was a member of the public who was putting something in front of a camera that must never be in front of a camera on daytime television. And Chris Nix has just done it. What did you waft into the screen there, Mr. Nix? It looked fluffy or hairy.
The edge of a microphone, just to see if you were paying attention, and you were.
Yes, I was. I was quite shocked by what that was. I was like, what the hell's that? Loads and loads of comments about Hampstead, and we are quite spooked by not only his hairy microphone, but also the speed at which the audience's numbers are going up, because it's amazing. We've got a question from Julian. He says, can I ask a question for the notes, queries and questions? On this week's Hampstead episode, you showed the staircase showing the sign, only used in an emergency. What is London Transport view of people using the stairs at Hampstead? Well, it has to be there, doesn't it, Chris?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not healthy to run up it.
You see those.
Well,
signs.
it is healthy.
It is
of
for
course.
health and safety.
It's very healthy, in
Fitting up
fact.
it is, yeah. I think you see those signs at all of those stations with long emergency stairs. You've been told it's not a great idea to be hiking up them. So if you want to do it, you can, but just do what you would do if you're going to be walking up 15 stories of stairs. Take it easy.
It's more than 15 though, surely.
Oh,
It's going to be like
sure. I mean, generally,
22.
the gag about there are always 15 stories.
But seriously, guys.
But it's a very good question, because as a passenger, and it says don't walk up unless an emergency, you might not like the lift. So you're like, oh, I'm going to take the stairs. Or you might want to take the stairs because it's better for fitness. Both very good options. But you read that and then it makes you pull back and think, actually, well, I shouldn't be using it. So I will go in the lift or I won't walk up the stairs. When actually you can. It's not like a don't do this kind of moment,
well,
right?
I think it's the issue is if you walk up there and then you have an accident or you collapse or something, it's a lot harder to actually go and collect you, because you'd have
collect you.
Yeah, it's awful.
The number of people that I have seen who've ignored that sign, who think, I'll be fine, halfway up, bitterly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Even at places like Covent Garden that are much shallower than, they're still long, but much shallower than Hampstead. But yeah, you normally find people just going, I didn't realise it was going to be that far, and wishing they had just waited an extra minute for a lift.
I really, really would just recommend take the lift. It's much, much easier. Or get off at Camden Town and get the bus up. That'd be really good, wouldn't it? There's escalators at Camden Town. Or maybe don't go down the tube at all. Just take the bus from home or maybe walk, or take the plane, or a car, or whatever. But try and use the lift at Hampstead. Wendy Kirk from Lincoln, she says, hello, I'm loving your stuff. So, hello, we love you. Loads and loads of comments on Hampstead. Dave says, so many excellent episodes, such a wonderful way to help us through lockdown and entertain us and educate us. Thank you. Ian says, would there be much to see at Paddington Underground Station? There's a bit, but it's a long way down the list, isn't it?
There's not much there, actually. We did go and check, didn't we, Chris, when we were doing the stuff for the book?
We did, yeah. So Paddington, old Paddington, doesn't have much left. It got re-signed.
Trade Street.
So you can go and see that at the surface. But of course, it does also have something else happening there that's rather interesting.
Anybody?
Yeah.
A new type of railway.
Bit of Elizabeth Line action.
X-Rail.
Oh, I was going to say Paddington Bear. I wasn't, by the way.
That'll be the one. That'll be the one. So it's on the list, but a long way down the list, really. Fludders8 says, greetings from my quarantine in Toronto. Hello, quarantine in Toronto. I grew up in South Tottenham, approximately halfway between Manor House and Turnpike Lane on the Piccadilly line, not far from where we were today, actually. On the junction with Green Lanes and Colina Road, there is a substantial Charles Holden building housing a ventilation shaft. Once told, can't remember by whom, that there was once plans to have a station here, and the distance between the two existing stations would certainly warrant one. Any truth in this? Anybody?
Which two stations was that again? Sorry.
That would be Manor House and Turnpike Lane.
Mm.
And there is a long gap between them. Lane. You've got a whole journey down to Dorset with this. I do apologise.
The joy.
I'd have to check that out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Go on, Sid, go on. What you got?
As I said, I don't know, honestly. So we'd have to have a little look around in the old books.
Ye old bookers.
I love it. There
Nicholas,
was one day where Chris and Siddy didn't know the answer, and I was like, do you know what, guys? I've totally got this one. I know.
yeah.
And I just
Yeah,
threw
I
out
think I'll take this one.
answer.
Thank you. Nicholas Alexander says, I used to travel every day to school through Hampstead Station in the 70s. At the time, there were 2 high-speed lifts and 4 of the old lifts. During rush hours, all the lifts were in use, and the high-speed lifts were operated manually. Outside rush hour, just 2 high-speed lifts were used and were automatic operation. We were reluctant to use the high-speed ones as they regularly broke down. And if you were stuck in the lift waiting for one of them, the ticket collectors wouldn't always hear the alarm, and the emergency override wouldn't bring you to the surface. Can you imagine? The bit I love is that we could nearly have gone in the lifts and pressed the emergency stop, and it didn't happen because new lifts don't kind of do that thing. But in the old lifts, you could. Mr. Nix dangled that like a carrot last week.
And it was only used to be when it was in staff control that you could do that to stop Herberts doing it when they shouldn't.
Just love it. Just love it. Ben Denton, sorry, do forgive me. Ben Denton says the previous Otis lifts at Hampstead had a lot more bounce to them. The current ones are so boring. Like a bit of bounce, Sid?
You know I love a bounce. I always have. That's interesting, though. It makes me, again, coming back to last week, I'm not like afraid of lifts, but there's always sort of, particularly really old ones, I've always kind of go like, when was this checked last time? And so I feel like I would be a little worried if it was overly bouncy, if I'm honest.
Okay, well, just let's be a bounce detector. Chris could actually do that, like an episode of That's Life in the 1980s, the bounce detector. Wasn't it, who was that woman who used to sit in a wheelbarrow and do the broken paving slabs on That's Life?
I feel we've strayed.
I don't know, it's gone very hot in here all of a sudden. I have my second jab. I think I'm actually going into meltdown. Harvey Liebner says, I wonder if viewers realised that until the 7th of September 1968, there were no bus services passing through Hampstead.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Now the 46 goes to the top, doesn't it? Well, there we go. That's killed the conversation. So if you've got a comment, we'll give you the details in a minute. Siddy, thank you as always. You're lovely.
Thank you, Mr. Grundon.
Good. Laura, thank you very much as well. This was a joyous experience where we stayed dry.
We did. We're there.
Yeah, we actually had our language learning lessons this morning, didn't we, Laura?
And I struggled to speak. No, it was a very good episode. Thank you, guys.
And Chris Nix, thank you so much for, mopping your fevered brow and filming this joy for us.
Thank you, Alex. And I'm off to pack my bucket and spade now for our trip to the seaside.
Can't wait.
You nearly did it too, Em. Pack my bucket.
No one can talk anymore.
It's just Gizmo is currently ripping apart my tufted shag down here. Don't do that. It's really expensive carpet. If you've
sorry,
got
what?
Yes, my tufted shag, my shag pile carpet down here. It's beautiful. But poor old cat does like to rip it a bit. Chris, you were saying?
We should, of course, say that it's time for some new tours in the world of Hidden London as well, because Siddy and I and Laura have been working away on not only a brand new physical tour, which will be our first physical tour to return, but also a new virtual tour that we've been touting for a while, which is York Road. So for those who enjoyed our hangout on York Road just before Easter, you can do the full thing quite soon. So keep an eye on our e-newsletter, get signed up to that, and then you'll know when that's coming out.
And speaking of which, if you think we're a bit kind of lost it at the end of this episode, you should see what we're like on Patreon, because it's absolutely out of this world, totally crazy, and lots of fun. You sign up for it, you cop a bit of cash for the museum, and then you get access to a whole new world of stuff that we produce immediately after we do this episode. Okay, so there's loads of great stuff. If you've got a comment, all you got to do is find us on Instagram. So it's Alex Grundon, Chris Nix, Siddy Holloway, Hidden London Law, or at LT Museum. Also, find us on YouTube. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Keep those numbers going up. Meanwhile, down below, like, subscribe, and comment with your questions and comments about the episodes. We're going to go somewhere really cool next week. In the meantime, have yourself a great day and stay safe. Big deep breath.